In the gentle hills near the village of Ide, just beyond Exeter in South Devon, where the river Exe murmurs through ancient woodlands and fields stretched beneath a vast sky, stands a peculiar tree. An oak with bark twisted around in a corkscrew fashion, its gnarled form a stark silhouette against the horizon. Known as the Twisty tree, it looms near the village outskirts, a living relic of a legend whispered through centuries. In the 17th century, Ide was plagued by a troublesome spirit, a mischievous wraith who soured milk and beer, stalled butter and dough, and sowed discord among neighbours until the village became uninhabitable. An Oxford scholar was summoned to banish the ghost, trapping it within this oak, where its restless struggle to escape twisted the bark into its eerie spiral, a tale of mischief quelled and a spirit imprisoned, etched into the twist. The story begins in the autumn of 1656, during the Commonwealth's stern grip on England, when Ide was a cluster of thatched cottages and muddy lanes, its folk bound to the rhythms of churn and plough. A shadow had fallen over the village, a troublesome spirit, its origins lost to time. Perhaps a vengeful soul or a trickster sprite born of Dartmoor's wilds. It turned milk sour in the churns, leaving a rancid stench that drove dairymaids to tears. Beer in the barrels fermented to vinegar overnight, ruining the alehouse trade. Butter refused to set, dough sank flat despite the baker's prayers, and maidens shrieked in the dark as unseen hands tugged their skirts. Neighbours quarrelled over trifles, stolen eggs, trampled crops, until Ide's once tight community frayed, its folk fleeing to Exeter or beyond, the village teetering on abandonment. The vicar of St. Ida's, a dour man named Nathaniel Quarles, wrung his hands at the pulpit. Prayers failed, holy water splashed in vain, and the villagers, desperate, sent word to Oxford for aid. In the spring of 1657, a scholar arrived, Master Edwin Rudge, a wiry man of 30 winters, his black robes dusty from the road, his satchel heavy with tomes of demonology and a silver cross etched with runes. Known for his sharp mind and sharper tongue, Edwin had quelled spirits in Oxfordshire, his reputation a beacon of hope for Ide. He lodged at the vicarage, his nights spent poring over grimoires by candlelight, his days questioning the villagers, Mercy Ellicott, whose butter churns soured, Jasper Ledbetter, whose beer turned bitter, Agnes Wheel, whose dough sank flat, each tale stoking his resolve to trap the wraith. Edwin deduced the spirit's lair, a lone oak near the village's edge, its branches gnarled, its roots clawing the earth where the trouble seemed strongest. On a moonless night in April, he gathered the villagers at dusk, torches flickering, their breaths misting in the chill, as he prepared to lay the ghost. With chalk and salt, he drew a circle around the oak, muttering Latin chants from his tomes, his silver cross raised high. The air thickened, a sour wind howling through the lanes, and the spirit emerged. A shimmering wraith, its form a blur of malice, its laugh a grating screech that curdled milk in Mercy's pail 10 yards away. Edwin's voice rose, steady and fierce, in Namon Dei Te Lego, and with a thrust of his cross he drove the spirit into the oak, the tree shuddering as the wraith's essence sank into its bark, the ground trembling as the circle sealed its prison. The village exhaled, milk flowed sweet again, beer brewed true, butter set firm, and dough rose high. Ma Ide NS walked unmolested, neighbours mended their quarrels, and Ide bloomed anew. Yet the oak bore the spirit's mark, its bark began to twist, spiralling upward in a corkscrew as if the wraith, trapped within, spun round and round in a ceaseless bid to escape. Edwin named it the Twisty Tree, warning the villagers he hates his cell and turns to flee it, and returned to Oxford, his work done, though the tree's strange form grew into legend, its spiral a testament to the ghost's restless fury. By 1715, the Twisty Tree was a village marvel. Children dared each other to touch its bark, their giggles echoing as they fled, while shepherds, like Oswin Shapter, tending flocks near the tree at dusk, swore they heard a faint screech from within, the air souring briefly before the winds swept it away. In 1756, a baker named Temperance Veal, kneading dough near her cottage at twilight, saw the tree's bark twist tighter, a slow grinding spiral, her bread rising perfectly after weeks of ruin, her tale a whisper at the inn that the spirit still churned within its prison. In 1823, a curate named Hugh Beer, newly appointed to St. Ida's, stood watch by the Twisty Tree on an April night, the anniversary of its binding, hoping to test the legend with prayer. At midnight, the air thickened, a sour wind rustling the leaves, and he heard a screech, a grating echo from the oak, its bark spiraling faintly as if the wraith strained against its bonds, fading as the church bell tolled one. Hugh, his faith shaken, wrote of a spirit's torment in his journal, the villagers nodding grimly at his awe. By the 19th century, the Twisty Tree of Ide was a fixture of South Devon lore, its corkscrew bark a curiosity for travellers, its haunting a caution to bakers and brewers. In 1879, a dairymaid named Annabel Cleave, fetching water near the tree at dusk, saw its bark twist, a slow, deliberate turn, her milk staying sweet that night, her tale a whisper among Ide's folk. In 1953, a local historian named Felix Densham, researching village tales, camped by the tree on an April evening, he heard a faint screech and saw the bark spiral faintly, the air souring briefly before clearing, his notebook trembling as he sketched its twisted form. In 1979, a rambler named Ruth Parmenter, hiking near Ide, at twilight glimpsed the tree's bark twist, a slow, eerie spiral, feeling a chill as a sour wind brushed her cheek, fading as she stepped back, her story a quiet echo in the village. Today, the Twisty Tree stands near Ide, its corkscrew bark a gnarled marvel, its roots deep in the earth where a spirit was bound. On moonless nights in April, some hear a faint screech or smell a sour Thames, the ghost trapped within, turning round and round to escape, its prison the Twisty Tree of Ide, a spectral legacy of a scholar's triumph in South Devon's quiet hills. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, like, follow, subscribe, and comment below.